Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, DwyerVIP.com for free premium picks. Look us up in the sports section on Roku. We're there. Dwyer Boxing and Sports News. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Let's talk about a website that, quite frankly, I think you need to know about. It's very impressive. They break a lot of stories, and they're relatively new. That website is TMZSports. Right, I know some people are saying, TMZ, isn't that a gossip site? Well, they've now entered the world of sports, and quite frankly, they're out hustling a lot of people. The other day, Sugar Ray Leonard was leaving a restaurant in Southern California, and TMZ Sports was there. Someone apparently was by Ray's car with a camera with audio. So the person was able to ask Ray a few questions. Right? One of the questions was, would you beat Floyd Mayweather Jr.? Now, Ray Leonard's an interesting person. He's very laid back in his retirement. Right? But Ray Leonard nods his head yes. It's the woman he's with who says no comment. But I want you to look at Ray. Ray nods his head yes without hesitation. I believe Ray Leonard has no doubt in his mind that he beats Floyd. But here's what I want people to consider. Okay, I understand that this is Floyd Mayweather's world right now. Right? I understand that when we talk about Floyd, when he's walking around wearing TBE hats, meaning the best ever hats, and when we talk about how he would do against the all-time greats at welterweight, we always mention Sugar Ray Leonard and Sugar Ray Robinson. Right? We always bring those two guys in talking about greatness at welterweight. But understand that Ray Leonard fought for the light heavyweight title. He actually fought for the inaugural super middleweight title for the WBC against then reigning light heavyweight champion Donnie Lalonde, who also placed his light heavyweight title on the line. Understand, it was a spirited fight. One of the judges had Lalonde ahead. But make no mistake how the fight ended. Ray Leonard knocked out the then reigning light heavyweight champion. Right? Understand, Ray Leonard was 5'10". He's taller than Floyd. Understand that Ray Leonard, right, not only beat Marvin Hagler, one of the best middleweights in history, whoever you thought won that fight, and I understand the Hagler people say, look at the body shots. Fair enough. The tape is available for all of us here on YouTube. But whoever you thought won that fight, understand Ray Leonard, fighting against a great middleweight champion, was competitive in the match. Then Ray gains weight and stops the light heavyweight champion. In fact, the more you look at Ray Leonard, the more eye-opening it is. Because, of course, Ray Leonard knocked out not more than 50% of his opponents. He actually knocked out more than 60% of his opponents. And understand that while Floyd Mayweather won his first title at super featherweight, Ray Leonard is actually, and Ray Robinson, they're actually bigger men. Right? Ray Robinson's 5'11". So, what I want to do is to further the conversation a little bit, because Floyd really is a smaller guy than Sugar Ray Leonard and Sugar Ray Robinson. Understand, Ray Leonard and Ray Robinson were competitive at middleweight, which is a weight class Floyd Mayweather Jr. has never been. So, to TMZ Sports, and to every pundit who wants to jump out of the shadows and interview a great fighter, Ray Leonard, and I believe now's the time, because Father Time catches up with all of us, and sooner or later, even an immortal like Ray Leonard is going to no longer be with us. What I would like is for someone to jump out of the bushes and to ask Ray Leonard about other great fighters who are actually still around, who dominated in higher divisions. When you hop out the bushes, don't just ask Ray Leonard about Floyd Mayweather. Ask him about Bernard Hopkins. As I've said in countless videos, I feel the best fighters at middleweight in history are Monzon, Marvin Hagler, and Bernard Hopkins. Right? Ray Robinson was great at welter. By the time he gets to the middleweight division, other guys are competitive with him. Right? Carmine Basilio. Right? Look at both fights. Right? Carmine Basilio. Gene Fullmer. Right? I believe at middleweight, the list is a short one. I believe Sergio Martinez is on the verge of making the list. I believe he destroys Miguel Cotto. That fight's in front of us. We'll see what happens when that fight happens. So when you go up to Ray Leonard, understand that Ray Leonard fought at heavier weights than Floyd, had a higher knockout percentage than Floyd. Think about it. Right? And really should be asked about more than Floyd. Ask him about how he would do, how he would fight against Bernard Hopkins. Look at Hopkins' middleweight resume. It's extensive. Right? Ask Ray Leonard how he would do against Sergio Martinez. Let me just say, I know Martinez is overlooked by many. He's been middleweight champion, folks, for 4 years. Let me briefly touch on some parts of his reign. He knocks out Paul Williams. He knocks out Sergei Zinzurek. He knocks out Darren Barker. He knocks out Matthew Macklin. He beats an unbeaten Julio Cesar Chavez, Jr. He beats an unbeaten Martin Murray. If you're in the presence of greatness, if you're in the presence of Sugar Ray Leonard, ask him about this fighter. After all, Ray Leonard actually held the belt at middle, right? He beats Hagler. He held the belt at 168, one step up from middle, and he held the belt at 175, right? Ask him about those fighters. Let me briefly say, you saw the first fight between Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran. Great fighter. You saw that Duran, quite frankly, had the upper hand when they were in close. Now just imagine if Duran had a little bit more foot speed and still had the devastating inside game. Right? That's who Bernard Hopkins was when he was the middleweight. Right? Understand, Hopkins now is closer to 50 than he is 45. Right? You're looking at Hopkins really years removed from his great days as a middleweight. Right? When he famously became the first man to knock out Oscar De La Hoya. Did so on a body shot. Right? Hopkins, excellent body puncher. Hopkins, excellent inside fighter. Excellent. Right? Ray Leonard against Hopkins, that's an interesting match. Hopkins could move in his heyday. Right? Hopkins also could play a length game. had a pretty good jab in his heyday. Leonard Hopkins, I think that's a classic match. I think Leonard Sergio Martinez, I think that's a classic match. Right? And so, just understand, the Sugar Rays, I believe they belong together. They're bigger men than Floyd Mayweather. Right? Of the three men, I would say offensively, Ray Robinson really has no peer. Right? There's no doubt in my mind that just in terms of offense, Ray Robinson is the top shelf. Right? Understand, to Ray Robinson and Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, who really earned his stripes at lighter weights, would seem small. Right? Understand, all three men had KO percentages north of 50%. Understand, when Ray Robinson fought the light heavyweight champion Joey Maxim, there was no catch weight like there was when Ray Leonard fought Donnie Lalonde. So you had the spectacle of a middleweight champ, and keep in mind, back then there was no super middleweight division. Right? The weight classes were defined. There was 160 middleweight, there's 175 light heavyweight. Understand who Ray Robinson was. When he challenged Joey Maxim for the light heavyweight championship, Maxim came in the ring as a light heavyweight, and Ray Robinson was beating him. Right? What beat Ray Robinson that day was heat exhaustion, not Joey Maxim. Ray Robinson was putting on one of boxing's all-time clinics. Look at the films of that fight. By the way, it was so hot in the ring that the referee during the fight had to be replaced. Now today, just by comparison, just to highlight the size difference, could you imagine Floyd Mayweather in the ring beating a reigning light heavyweight champion? Could you imagine, even if that champion, let's say Sergey Kovalev, lost weight to fight at 168, could you imagine Floyd Mayweather gaining weight to fight him at 168 and beating him, which is what Ray Leonard did against Donnie Lalonde? Right? The highest Floyd has been, and he's the reigning champion right now at the weight, is 154 pounds. Right? If there's a knock on Mayweather at middle and at 154, it's a lack of power. Right? He's not a knockout puncher at those weights. Just consider the reign of Ray Leonard. Right? At 147, Ray Leonard knocks out Wilfred Benitez to get the title. Understand, at 147, Ray Leonard knocks out Thomas Hearns. I know Ray had 15 rounds. I know Floyd has 12. But let's just say Ray Leonard was winning fights decisively. I also understand that Benitez fight is ended with just a few seconds left in that fight. Just be aware of the fact that Benitez, a great fighter who beat Roberto Duran, who won the title before he was 17 and a half years old, look it up, against an opponent who had had the belt for some time. Right? Just understand that Benitez had hit the canvas earlier in that fight. Right? Understand the way Ray Leonard got the 154-pound title against Ayub Kalouli was by KO. Understand, Hagler goes the distance with Ray at 160, but Ray gets the belt at 168 by KO. Right? There's no question that Ray Leonard at 147 is a bigger puncher than Floyd Mayweather. I believe that, to the journalists out there, TMZ Sports doing a great job. I'm just here trying to help raise the public dialogue to the journalists out there. If Ray Leonard, or let's say Ray Robinson, were still alive, if you're lucky enough to get close enough to actually talk with a great fighter, if you're in the presence of greatness, right? If you have Ray Leonard there, a guy who beat one of the best middleweights in history, Marvin Hagler, please, in addition to asking him about Floyd, ask him about the middleweight division. Ask him about Bernard Hopkins, right? Who knows? You know, Ray might even wonder and speculate about fighting Hopkins at 168 pounds, right? Since, of course, Ray held the belt then. Just like it would be a blown opportunity if Ray Robinson, who beat guys like Rocky Graziano at 160, right? If Ray Robinson walked out of a restaurant today and you ignore the Carmine Basilio, Gene Fulmer, Randy Turpin, right, part of his career, and you just say, hey, Ray, how would you do against Floyd Mayweather? Let's just say you'd be missing part of the interview. Right, to the boxing public, I'd like to start a conversation on this, given that Ray Leonard did have a punch and did beat Marvin Hagler officially. How would he do against Bernard Hopkins? How would he do against Sergio Martinez? Understand, the great fighters, they defy the law of physics. They defy gravity. Right? There's more to Ray Leonard, much more, than the middleweight division. Right? For the Boxing Hardcore, I've actually posted a fight on my channel page here. It's Ray Leonard against Wilfred Benitez. Right? It's how Ray Leonard wins the welterweight title. Right? I encourage everyone to take a look at that video. What's interesting is that both guys are very high-level technicians, and they don't move a lot in the fight. They circle each other, but Ray doesn't really get on his horse in the fight. He's fighting a master technician up close. And what I want you to do is, as you look at the video, understanding that Ray Leonard was a master at angles, just look at the Benitez jab. Wilfred Benitez had a pretty good jab, but yet it's not landing on Ray Leonard. But yet Ray Leonard's really not moving that much in the fight. How is he pulling it off? Folks, it's with leans. It's with timing. In my opinion, it's with greatness. Right? Wilfred Benitez was unbeaten at the time. Ray Leonard wins that fight by several rounds. Understand, this is before Ray Leonard then goes on to fight Roberto Duran, who at the time only had one loss. Right? Only had one loss. And of course, this is before Ray Leonard goes on to fight an unbeaten Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Right? And of course, all of that is before Ray Leonard then decides, after a multi-year layoff, it's crazy by today's standards, to fight the then reigning middleweight champion, Marvin Hagler, after Hagler had dominated the division for years. Right? And of course, keep in mind, by the time he fights Hagler, Hagler himself, it's a different era in boxing, had already fought and beaten Duran. He had already fought and beaten Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Right? I haven't even gotten to Hagler against John Mugabe and countless others. Right? So just think about that. Understand, Ray Leonard should be asked about the middleweight division. Right? Should even possibly be asked about how he would do against the guys at 168 pounds. Ask him about Andre Ward. After all, both guys were champion at 168. The key with Ray Leonard is to understand that Ray Leonard doesn't get to 168 until late in his career. Right? And so, you know, you're not even dealing with prime Ray Leonard when he stops Donnie Lalonde. That's post-prime Ray Leonard, right? Food for thought. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. Thanks for stopping by.